Good evening. The recent warming trend is causing problems for those in the rural municipality of Wilton. This was the scene today on local area range roads as crews from the RM have been working on helping drain the excess water. The flooding is being caused by heavy snowfall the area had experienced this year.
The challenges here is moving water across people's land, and we want to get it off their property as quickly as possible so we don't interfere with their seeding this spring.
According to staff at the RM, no houses have been affected yet.
At this time that I'm aware of, there hasn't been, due to the due diligence of our staff monitoring the roads almost 24 hours a day.
Elder says most of the water runoff should be cleared off in a couple weeks. For updates on current road closures, visit the RM's website. Multiple sclerosis is an unpredictable disease, and it can cause anything from impaired speech and fatigue to paralysis. But the border city hopes to fight back as hundreds of people hit the pavement today at Lakeland College to take part in the annual MS Walk. Bart Pedyasik reports.
With names of loved ones on their shirts and the spirit of charity on their backs, hundreds of walkers laced up their sneakers and took to the pavement this morning. This was Shelby Burton and her team's first time at the walk. The 19-year-old got involved after being diagnosed with the disease in February.
Mine comes in stages. But for right now, I have a physical weakness, so running and walking really exhausts me out. But other than that, I'd have loss of leg, so I'd fall from walking or tying my shoes, to extreme numbness and skin sensation, so water temperature really bothered me.
Luckily, Shelby was diagnosed early, but it was still a shock to her family.
Well, we couldn't believe it at first, and it took time to absorb the news, but then we found out through our doctor that this is something that we can live with, and so you just live day to day, the best you can with what you have.
Unfortunately, Shelby's story isn't uncommon. Many in the border city have friends or family members struggling with MS. The number of people that took the time to participate today speaks for itself.
Every year our walkers come out in full force here to really truly make that demonstration in their fight against MS. So inspiring and moving to see them coming out in such strong numbers.
Green says the number of registered walkers was unusually low over the last month, but the community was able to rally together over the last few weeks.
Right now we're right at around 400 walkers, which is just on the cusp of our 418 mark last year. So we're going to get there, I have faith. And right now the money is looking good. Lots of people turning in their dollars in the gym, so we're confident.
The Lloydminster MS Society hopes to raise at least $190,000. Half of the money raised from the walk will go towards MS research nationally. The rest will stay closer to home.
Approximately half of the funds stay right here in the local community to fuel programs and services for individuals and families touched with MS locally. So all sorts of supports in place so that they don't feel like they're in this fight alone.
It's those services that help families like the Burtons make it through the tough times.
Some of the medication that is out there for MS people that have to take it daily is extremely expensive. So funds to help families that don't have that is huge.
And while there is still no cure, Shelby says she won't let MS control her life.
With treatments and medication, I'm able to live a normal life and it won't affect me too much.
Bart Pedyasik, Newcap News.
In the past few years, many Albertan artists decide to move to bigger cities such as Vancouver and Toronto to enhance their craft. But nowadays, touring events such as Untapped Alberta have helped emerging acts promote their music right here in the province. The concert series came back to the border city last night for a second time.
Who has got me ready?
It It was a full house at the Root with local residents coming out to support a good cause. And for opening act Jenny Tai, she says being part of events such as this not only helps promote arts in the local community, but creates a special bond between artists as well.
A touring artist like myself, it's hard to break into a new community without, you know, the media attention and stuff when my name isn't necessarily known in Calgary or Lloydminster, what it might be known somewhere in Edmonton.
It allows people to come out to an event that really, you know, brings you to these places like the Root that is so, you know, heavily rooted in community and getting people involved in you know, the arts in their community as well.
Lloydminster native Colleen Brown is now a well-known singer-songwriter in Edmonton, and she says for years she wasn't able to play shows in the border city because there were no venues available. But now there's more opportunity for local artists.
This is the perfect size room for somebody who's building their career and trying to get people interested in something that's on an independent level rather than just what's on commercial radio.
100% of the proceeds from the night will go to the festival on 49th. And for Jenny Tai, she says the music industry in Alberta is changing, but in a good way.
I'm from Alberta and I haven't felt the big urge to pick up and move to Toronto quite yet because it's busy enough with the amount of venues and the amount of support.
The last leg of the tour will be in Calgary. For more information, you can visit the Alberta Music Industry Association's website.
And Kyle joins me for our first look at sports. And Kyle, you know, just about the Burke incident, I find it kind of strange that, you know, you're suing someone, but you don't know who you're suing.
Yeah, how do you even go about suing them?
How does it go through? But anyway, talking about sports, we're talking about bull riding.
Yeah, bull riding event going on in Marway, and it was the site for its second annual event. Inaugural champion Chad Bestplug could not make it due to injury, so a new champion would be crowned, and it was a good bucking time. Good Marway Arena, and they would not be disappointed. Third place finisher at last year's event, Tanner Gerlitz from CITL, Alberta, riding a bull named Puppet. He'd qualified for the short go, but get bucked off in the final. That's a whole lot of bull rolling on his left leg. He'd shake it off, and talk about tough as nails. Last year's runner-up, Cody Coverchuck from Meadow Lake, would also qualify for the short go with an impressive ride on bull Boyin Hot. Hanging on for a score of 84 heading to the final, but he would get bucked off in the final round. So to the short program, leader Ty Chesser with a score of 86.5 after his first ride. He gets 2 cracks at winning the title. His very first attempt, he gets bucked off. Adam Jameson from New Zealand takes full advantage, scoring an 83 to put him atop of the leaderboard. Up next was John Jacobs of Timberlake, South Dakota. He came in with an 83 in the long ride, riding Time Will Tell. Jacobs finishes with a score of 86.5 for a total of 169.5 to take the lead. Tesher, with one last chance, needing a score of 83.5 or better, gets bucked off once again, meaning John Jacobs is your Marway PBR champion. Impressive when you add the fact that he arrived just 3 hours before the competition.
Kind of messed up. I left from South Dakota and I miscalculated how far it was. I barely got here a couple hours ahead of time, but I took a nap right before the bull ride, so got a little power nap, and I was good to go.
Team Northeast, which features a few members of the Lloydminster Universal Heat, was looking to keep rolling through the Alberta Cup. A pair of wins yesterday moved the team to 3-0. This afternoon, they played Calgary South with a chance to go undefeated in the round robin and claim top spot in Division B. A 7-4 win will do it. The Northeast go 4-0 through round robin play. The Northeast had a very strong game. They threw 50 shots at the net. Sam Steele had 2 goals and 3 helpers on his way to being named the Northeast Player of the Game, while Brandon Barrow had 2 goals and an assist. The team will play in the A Championship game tomorrow afternoon. Well, the best junior A hockey teams in Western Canada are in Nanaimo, BC for the 2013 Crescent Point Western Canada Cup. The champs from the Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and BC hockey leagues, as well as host Nanaimo Clippers, will battle it out over the next 9 days to determine who is top dog. In the first game of the event, the Brooks Bandits took on the Surrey Eagles, and the AJHL champs are off to a pretty good start with a 4-1 win. Brooks goaltender Michael Frederick had a great game, finishing with 38 saves. Chris Muscovy had 2 assists in the win, while R.J. Reed chipped in a goal and an assist for the Bandits. Brooks continues round-robin play tomorrow against the host Clippers. The North Saskatchewan Rugby Union season is just around the corner, and the Reapers rugby teams want to make sure they're ready to go. Members of the men's and women's teams took part in fitness testing on Friday night.
We did one a couple months ago here, so we're just kind of see where we're at, I guess, after a couple months.
Definitely it gives everyone an incentive to keep on doing their fitness regimes, whether they're doing it with a group or with just individuals.
And it's not easy.
The ones where you're doing the VO2 max, so you're pushing just for short periods of time, are hard on bigger guys like me, but the smaller guys seem to enjoy them. So.
Good job, good job.
Rugby is a physically demanding game. The fitness checkups help ensure everyone is keeping up with the necessary training when the season rolls around.
Personally, I do CrossFit at Cujo Conditioning, but lots of the other guys will just do, dryland training, whether on the track or any weights and stuff like that.
It's also a good chance to get a look at some of the club's new members.
We have a lot of new recruits in the guys, a lot of really good-looking new recruits too. And then our usual old boys that are veterans that still haven't started coming out yet, but they'll be here probably really quick, I'm hoping.
In the end, it's all about being fit and having fun.
We encourage as much physical activity other than rugby. We get fit to play rugby, don't play rugby to be fit.
Sometimes it's a lot of work, but it's worth it because you get to have beer after sometimes. But all the time. But
the Reapers open up the season in early May.
Squeeze your back before you push. There you go. 6 or 8 foot.
The Kit Scotty Lloydminster Extreme kicked off their Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League season this afternoon in Edmonton against the Wizards. It was a very close game, but the Extreme come out on top with a 12-10 win. Head coach Scott McAllister said it was a balanced effort and he was very happy with his team's performance. Now, if you're interested in checking out some RMLL action, the Extreme play the Vermilion Roar tomorrow. The ball drops at 2 p.m. right at the Civic Center.